You're listening to Rolling Toe with trucking experts Kevin and Mike Beckett. This is the show where you ask the questions and we give you the diagnosis on how to get the most out of your truck. We'll talk about avoiding wear and tear, knowing your suspension and axles, and how to get more mileage from your tires. We're on the audio road. Let's get rolling.
Well, this is Mike.
This is Kevin.
And we're back to annoy you again.
We're good at that.
On this episode of As the Wheel Turns,
As the beads spin,
we're going to be discussing balance and taking your questions and comments. I've got a little thing we're going to read. If you have a question or comment, please push 1 on your dial. That'll put you up on the queue so we know you have a question or comment. Be careful. If you push it twice, you erase yourself, and then we won't know where you are. I had a great time this last week down at the CMC with Kevin Rutherford and his people.
I missed it.
He always misses it.
I've been there once.
Oh, have you been there once?
I've been there once.
Awesome. Okay, well, maybe we'll have to arrange to have you go and talk, and I'll stay home.
Someday.
Someday. All right. I did hear this week at the end of it, apparently very successful, everybody had a good time, is that next year they want to make it bigger, and instead of 250 people, they're going to have room for, I guess, 500 is the goal, and they're moving it to Council Bluffs to the Harrah's Casino at Mid-American Center. So, a little different location.
Hopefully more parking.
I don't know if there's, I don't know. I suppose during the next little while, if I go that way, I'll have to drive by and look at it myself.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm no expert at parking trucks. I don't even have a driver's license. Oh, wait a minute. I've got a car license. Oh, well. Okay. Let's start with reading this thing about balance. The concept of balance is to equalize the distribution of weight around the circumference of the tire. This is important to overall tire life and a reduction of vibrations in the vehicle. Early in my career, I was told that a 10-ounce out of balance at 60 miles per hour on a 24.5 tire translates to 100 pounds of force each time the heavy spot hits the road. An engineer can probably prove those numbers are incorrect, but the general idea is valid for our purposes. Heavy spots pounding on the tire 500 times a mile will beat the tire to death. In addition to the damage to the tire, the vibrations created by this pounding deteriorate the components in the vehicles, including lights, gauges, mirrors, hinges, seams, batteries, not to mention what it does to the driver. Of course, we don't care what it does to the driver because he doesn't own the truck. Oh, wait a minute, we're talking to owner-operators.
We are talking.
Yeah, we got to be good about this. What?
They care.
They care, they do. I categorize balance systems into 2 camps: fixed located weights and dynamic balance media. In the fixed located weight camp, you determine where and how much the tire is out of balance, and then secure a countering weight to the rim. This measuring process can use bubble levels, freewheeling spindles, computerized spin machines, or strobe lights. Some will balance on the truck and include the rim, the tires, the drum, and the hub, while most will just balance the tires and the rims off the truck. Personally, I prefer to balance everything that is spinning because you never know where the extra weight is located. One problem with a fixed located weight system is that only right the day you did it. Tires do not wear uniformly around their circumference, and as time goes by and miles go by, the proper location of that weight and amount of weight can change. So you need to periodically rebalance the assembly. As a point in this, remember that deep treaded tire, worn down to a worn out tire, reduces 30 pounds of weight from the tire.
And it doesn't do it.
It doesn't do it uniformly. So you can wind up 10, 12, 15 ounces out of balance pretty easily. My second concern is the need to calibrate balancing machinery. Many shops assume that since they are giving them numbers, the numbers must be correct. With a dynamic system, you either mount a ring to the hub with balance media in it, or you place some type of media inside the tire. The physics statement for this process is that a free-floating mass in a spinning assembly will seek equilibrium. In other words, it self-balances. The type of media can affect the net results, and many different providers of products are out there for this purpose. As an overall concept, I prefer this system since it rebalances the assembly each time you accelerate from a stop. Preferences aside, in tests we've conducted with other tire wear factors being handled, balance improves the life of the tire on trucks and buses between 10 and 20% compared to no balance. Just remember, balance by itself will not stop all cupping. There are other factors at play in the tire that need to be considered as well.
All right.
Did that make any sense, or did I stumble over too much?
You stumbled a lot.
I
for
did stumble
somebody
on
that
it.
actually wrote what he was writing.
But see, it was Mother's Day, and I'm kind of half potted.
That's your excuse today.
That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
All right.
I hope somebody out there can hear us, because so far we have absolutely no one that has questions. We have a lot of people listening, but there's no questions and no comments.
Yeah.
Did we ever test this thing to see if we're getting a signal out?
What do you mean?
There's a thing you pulled up on the screen. It tells you. Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, it works.
So we know there's out there.
We know that the signal is going.
But they don't want to talk to us.
There's a few.
That means we have to talk to each other.
They're jumping.
Do you think they want to listen to us or listen to themselves?
They may, there's been some people, I think,
Yeah?
have wanted to hear themselves.
Themselves. Okay.
Or at least wanted us to shut up.
Oh, well, shutting us up is a good idea anytime you can get it done. All right, let's start the games. Who is the first phone area code we're going to try?
First phone area code is 301.
301, Washington, D.C.
That's like betting 0-0 on the roulette wheel. 30. I wish I could remember. I'm going to go with Texas.
Texas.
All right.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me now?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It goes well. Where are you at?
Right now I am just across the line from Ohio into Indiana.
And where's 301 area code?
That is Maryland, I believe. You weren't too far off by D.C.
D.C. See, I was psychic or psychotic.
Yeah, exactly. Well, either way, hey, I get called them both.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have got a 379 with I replaced one of the drive axle housings, the front one. The rear one, I believe, has got some spindle issues on the driver's side. Now, on the driver's side, rear drive, the duals, on one of the duals, I am getting a spot about the size of my fist that is just where, I mean, it's like wearing out so fast. I mean, it's almost, that spot is bald. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
it's down to where I would replace the tire.
Okay, you're breaking up pretty bad, but I think I've heard enough. Let me clarify and make sure we got this right. You're driving a 379P, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and you've got a problem with cupping on the left side rear tires on the rear drive axle, and you've got
on the inside tire. Not
on the inside
outside,
tire,
but just on the inside tire.
It is on the inside of the inside tire next to the frame.
No, it's on the outside of the inside tire.
Outside of the inside tire, you've got a cup about the size of your fist.
One spot.
Yes.
It sounds like the tire's not mounted on the rim straight.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
That's what it sounds.
That was. That's what I was wondering.
It's going to be hard to see because you got to look down between them. You'd almost have to take the outside tire off and rotate the tire to where you can see where the cup is. And then there's a mold mark in the tire right next to the rim. And it should stay the same distance away from the rim all the way around. If right by the cup it dips in by the rim, if it dips in there, that's shortening up the sidewall, and that's what's causing the cup.
Okay.
Now, If that's not it, the second possibility is that sometime in the past, something sharp dug into the tire, right into that area, and caused a damage to the tire. And then that loose piece of rubber started wiggling and caused a cup to build up around it.
That could be a possibility too, because I remember something in one of my tires, and I pulled it out, but I can't remember what tire it was. But it was on that side.
Yeah. So either a mismount or damage to the tread of the tire in that area would have caused that.
Just
Okay.
one spot, one cup, and especially if the damage would be something that it wouldn't spread much. Would
Yeah,
it?
it'll spread out to about the size of your fist. And if you drive it long enough, it'll just keep eating it out.
All right, but I mean,
Yeah. Well, I've got they're mismatched drive tires. I did the front axle. Lived there in Yokohama 517s, the MC2, and then the back drive axle is the BF Goodrich. I can't remember the model number, but they're pretty high in rolling resistance, and I've just been trying to wear them out. So it's not too entirely bad, but I just didn't want to transfer that problem over to the tires, you know.
It shouldn't hurt any other tires with what's going on. It sounds like it's isolated to that tire. But now that particular wheel position is getting out of balance. And the bigger the cup gets, the bigger the balance problem you're going to have.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay?
All right. Okay. All right. Good deal. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you mark something down in his?
No, I haven't. Let me do that.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, we wind up going back to him, and he says, "Why are you calling me back?" I don't know.
All right.
Okay. All right. We got the mark in there. Okay. Now we go on to the next episode of As the Wheel Churns. As the stomach yearns. What do you got? What's the area code?
We've got the 937 area code.
Oh, I know that.
Well, good, because there's two of them.
There's two 937s. We'll get one right and one wrong.
I'll get the wrong one out of the way first.
Oh, okay, fine. What do you call it?
We're gonna go with Texas.
Okay, I'm gonna go Minnesota.
Minnesota. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you should know this. You were wrong once before on the area code. It's Dayton, Ohio area.
Oh, okay. We try not to remember what we did 5 minutes ago. It scares us.
Hey, got a question on the balance rings. Do you see better luck with the mercury ones or the ones with oil and steel balls?
Well, okay, there's three different models out there that I've seen. Okay, two that I'm familiar with. One is the Balance Master, which I understand uses liquid mercury inside of it. The next one is the Centromatic, which uses shotgun shot and oil inside of it. And then there's a third one I just recently have seen out of Canada, and I'm not sure what they're using for balance media in it. Now, the only concern I've got is the one with the mercury. That's a hazardous material, and if it breaks, I want to know who does the hazmat cleanup.
I know I wouldn't want to be doing it.
We used to use thermometers with mercury in them, and we put them in our mouths. We just didn't chew on the thermometer.
Yeah.
It was all right. So.
Right, but the amount of mercury in that thing has got to be a lot more than what was in the thermometer in your mouth.
That, and it's when you've got the mercury thermometer, which they hardly even use anymore.
Right, those are
that.
Yeah.
If there is a mess, you're not responsible to hazmat for cleaning that mess up. In your truck on the highway, there is a certain responsibility that you bear.
So it may be
true.
just it may be a facetious concern on my part, but it makes me a little nervous.
I've had my Balance Masters since 1996, and they're still doing well. So I just wondered if you have you taken a Balance Master on a front axle or drive axle, put it on the spin balance, and everything's good, right?
The problem with Balance Masters or Centromatics or any of the dynamic systems is if you put them on a spin machine, and I've done it, if it spins them up too fast, they don't balance. You have to spin them up slowly and give time for the balance media to move around like it's supposed to. We tried that once on a on-the-truck spin balancer. We had the stuff inside the tire, and we took it from 0 to 60 miles an hour about 4.6 seconds, and the balance media never moved around and balanced the tire. It shook like a son of a bitch. But then we stopped it, and we spun it up very slowly, like about the amount of time a truck would accelerate, and it worked perfect every time.
Okay. I just kind of like the idea I don't have to pay for balancing. I just buy the Balance Master, and I'm good for 20 years, So.
I agree. If you buy one of those devices, you never rebalance again. You put them on the truck, you drive them forever. I think it's fabulous. The stuff inside the tire, it's a little lower cost, but you have to replace it every time you buy a new tire.
Yeah. Do you see a difference in the factory shock absorbers, the Road King shocks, as far as the life of the tire?
Okay, let's talk about the difference between shocks and what I know about them. I know exactly as much as I see when I walk through a trade show and a guy shows it to me. I have no experience with how the Road King shock works, how well it works, what its life cycle is, what it does. I've seen factory shocks for years and I know what they do. So until I actually would do a test myself and put it out there, I really can't say good or bad about any of them.
But then, from our perspective, the shocks normally aren't our problem.
Yeah.
Almost whatever we're talking about, with the vibration you've got, the alignment problem, the tire wear problem, it's almost never the shock that was causing it.
The shock gets blamed.
It gets blamed.
Yeah, and the shock will smooth you right out, and it's nice to have a good set of shocks. But as far as endorsing that or any other, I know they're a sponsor for some of the shows. I think they're a sponsor for ours. But I've never tested them, so I have no idea.
Yep.
Okay. All righty. Well, thanks for your time.
Not a problem. You have a good day.
Yep, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
So that was 937.
It was 937?
You'll want to
write that down. 937. Okay, what's this next one we got?
931.
931. Well, that can't be Ohio, can it?
Could, but
937, 931. 931. Arizona.
Tennessee.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Tennessee's right long ways from Arizona, Mike.
Yeah? Where are you at?
Well, I'm in Ohio right now.
931 is
Tennessee, but I'm in Ohio.
Tennessee, but you're in Ohio.
Okay, well, I got it.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
All right.
Imagine that. Yeah, truck driver in Ohio. Imagine that.
Imagine that. What's up,
Hey,
buddy?
I got a question for you. Super Singles, Michelin X1 DA Energies. Not the new one out, not the Plus, but the one before that. I had a set of them, and when they got down to like 430 seconds, 530 seconds, the face of the tire, the actual face of it, the tread started chipping.
Chipping?
Yeah, I get on some gravel parking lots a lot because I pull a bulk tanker. And, I know that when that tread gets down that low, it's really stiff. But, yeah, it just had chunks coming out of some tires, real small chunks like you would it wasn't deep chunks, but it was, I never had them do that before, but it did it on that set on a couple of my tires.
2 or 3 pictures in my computer that people have sent me of that same tire doing the same thing when it got down into that last little bit of tread.
And what was weird was the model they had out before that, they changed the tire compound. Because it might have been, I think it was the model before that. It was just, I think it was before the Energy, but it was, I don't know if it was the same tread style or not, but when they got down to, I don't know, like 630 seconds, 730 seconds, them things were like driving on ice.
when it was wet out. The compound in the tire changed, and it scared the crap out of me a couple of times just driving on the road. They got really slick. And then I noticed this last time, they're not slick. They don't get it real slick feeling when they get wore down, but they started chipping. The tread started chipping.
And that's exactly what happens. The tire engineers hear complaints. They see what happens to them. Then they try to change the rubber compound to make it a better traction tire. And sometimes you go a wrong direction, and all of a sudden they start chipping. And when the tire gets down that far, it has been heated and pressured so many times that it's changed the compound. So I'm not surprised that
was the problem both of those tires on the rear axle?
Yeah. Okay.
Carrying more weight, doing more weight.
Well, I wouldn't say they were both on the rear axle, but they were both on the rear axle. I don't remember, but I know I had one on the. Yeah, they were both on drives. Yeah.
That's fine. But when you wear a tire down like that, it's been abused that long. Things change, and the tire engineers are still fiddling around trying to figure out the right combinations to make these wear in our environment.
Okay. I just wondered if I had an issue or something, because I've never seen nothing like it before. So.
Yep. Well, we've seen a few of them. I got some pictures.
All right.
You have a good day.
All right. Thanks, Mike. You too. Bye.
You got one right.
Cool. Yeah.
How did you do that?
I'm going to get 2 right.
You're going to get 2 right?
Right.
Okay.
So this one's
all right.
937.
Make a note there. Okay. Okay. 937.
This is for the 937.
Okay, I'm gonna bet Utah.
Well, I'm going to go with Ohio.
Ohio. Boy, where'd you get that from?
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
you're right with Ohio. You just took another Ohio like a call ago.
He's got a better memory than I do.
Yeah, I had a tire wear question for you, and don't get me wrong, I'm not familiar with all the tire terms, but it's wearing really weird. It's on the right rear inside tire. It's a closed tread, and I wouldn't really say it's cupping, but it's kind of, probably the proper term, but it's like a valley on about a quarter bit of the tread, the third closest inside, lug area. And I don't know why it's wearing like that. It's only that tire.
Is it the rib right next to the frame?
Yeah, it's the one right next to the frame.
Okay, and so you're getting a rapid wear right next to the frame on the inside edge of the inside tire.
Yeah, in the tread, right next to the closed shoulder of the
right
tire.
Next to the shoulder. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And do you remember what model of tire it is?
It's a recap. I'm meaning to get new tires.
It's a recap.
I was wondering if it might have been something wrong with the suspension, or it's only that one tire, but it's not happening on any other tire on the axles at all.
Okay. The first thing we suspect when we see inside edge wear on the inside tire is either a loose wheel bearing or axle flex. It can happen on you can have just one wheel bearing loose. It could conceivably just be a wheel bearing. But recaps don't tend to give us that much inside edge wear. It's usually on original tread, where the tread is deeper and softer, we get more flex and we see more of it.
Yeah, you got the 3 rows of tread there, and it's that one inside row.
Yeah, I would still check the bearing, and you would check the bearing, and we've got a video on our website that you can look at that shows how we check bearings and what we're worried about. And I would check the bearing in 4 different spots. I'd rotate the tire to 4 different spots and check it, because the bearing can be loose in just one part of the rotation. And if it is, then you may have to take it apart and see what's wrong inside there. Okay?
Okay.
If it's not a bearing, then I'm going to be looking at the tire, because maybe somebody, when he ground that casing down, took too much out of one part of it and put it together, and the tire's not actually round.
Possible.
Yeah, I was looking at getting a whole new set of tires soon anyways. I just wanted to, bounce that question off you and, yeah.
Well, before I would change it, I would check the bearings, because I don't want to put a new tire on there and do the same thing to it.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
Okay?
Yep, thank you.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
So that was the 937.
You got 2 right tonight.
In a row.
You're hitting them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're gonna take another guess.
Yeah, we got the 843 area code.
843. Now I'm sure about this one. I think I got this one definitely right. It's the Dominican Republic.
We get a lot of calls from the Dominican Republic.
A lot of truckers down there.
Of course.
Lots
of
truckers down there.
North Carolina.
You're gonna go North Carolina. Okay. All right.
Hello.
Hello there.
Yes, this is Tony. I'm actually in South Carolina.
South Carolina.
I was in Carolina.
He got the Carolinas. He gets half a point.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm calling is I'm in sort of a specialized haul. I haul timber for a living, and I'm looking at purchasing my own truck, and I just wanted to know what would be a good tire to put on a truck to haul timber for.
Round tires.
You might have
something that's tough but fuel efficient.
How far do you travel each way?
Well, it depends on the load. Sometimes it's maybe 80 miles round trip. Sometimes it may be as much as, 300 miles round trip. It just depends on where the wood has to go. But it's always in South Carolina.
Are you on hard face most of the time, or are you on dirt and gravel most of the time?
I'm on asphalt most of the time. It's like maybe a mile to maybe 5 miles to get into the woods to get the timber, and then you're back on main highways, or back highways.
Okay. The only real concern I got is most rolling resistance tires are not real good off-road. They get chipped, they get chunked, they get damaged real easy. So it may be more important to have a durable tire than a low rolling resistance tire in that application.
Maybe a Dura-Seal tire?
Dura-Seal tire. Or buy your tires and put tire liner in it. It's another product, the liquid product you can put in the tire that automatically plugs leaks up to a 1/4 inch in size.
And would that also kind of balance?
It does balance.
So
you said tire liner?
Tire liner. TIRELYNA. You can look it up online, and maybe find somebody close. It's really, the tests we've seen on it, it really works neat. It balances the tires, seals up the leaks. You don't have to worry about them. Anybody that's going off into the woods, I mean, you can shove a stick through that thing in a heartbeat.
It can happen.
That's the truth.
So, in your condition, I hate to say it, but I'd be more interested in a durable tire than a low rolling resistance tire.
Right.
Okay.
So,
All righty?
Oh, all right. Thank you for your help.
Have a great day.
You.
You got to make a mark on that.
Yes, I got to make one.
Yes, you got to make a mark on that. Otherwise, we'll be calling him again, and he won't have a question for us. Okay, we all right?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good?
All right.
Okay.
Well, that was yes. So that was a half, 2.5.
You got a half on it, and that question is a legitimate question. Do you want low rolling resistance? You want durability? If he's going 5 miles off into the sticks and then going 80 miles round trip on hard face and then back into the sticks, the fuel savings he gets on a low rolling resistance tire could get completely wiped out by flats.
Yeah, that was my concern. That's what I was thinking. If whether he uses tire lining or he can get his Goodyear rip to sell him the Dura-Seal.
The Dura-Seal's a good one. I like it a lot, but the tire liner means that he could use it in anything.
True.
And tire liner doesn't cause chamber fires.
True.
It rinses out with a garden hose.
Yep.
It's not that sticky, slimy stuff we've seen around before. I'm kind of impressed with it.
Good.
All right. So what's our next area code?
Okay. Our next area code here is 509.
509.
Yep.
Wasn't there car 509 on that TV show? No, you're too young to remember that. It was a cop car. Really. Okay, 509. Kentucky.
Minnesota.
All right. Let's see. Hello there.
You're both wrong. Eastern Washington.
Eastern Washington? Spokane?
Yeah.
Actually, my phone number is out of Spokane, but I actually live north of Spokane.
Ah, okay. All right. Cool. Well, it's good to talk to you. What you got?
Let me first tell you a little bit about my application. We run empty about 20% of the time. And then about 60% of the time we're light, like less than 20,000 pounds on an open deck. And then the rest of the time we're loaded pretty heavy.
Okay.
What is your recommended tire rotation program in that type of an operation?
Well, the tire rotation program really doesn't change for that kind of a program. What I do is I try to measure the depth of the tread on the two steer tires. And they won't wear evenly, both of them exactly the same. So when I am 2/32 more worn on one front tire than the other, I'll rotate the two steer tires, rims and all, just switch them around. As far as the drive tires go, normally the rear drive axle wears 25% faster than the front drive axle. So again, I measure the tread depth. And when the rear drive axle is 4/32 more worn than the front drive, I will X rotate the drive tires. So I'm wearing them out as sets instead of having 4 tires have to be replaced and then the other 4. And when you do that, then you got tall tires with short tires, and it just messes up all kinds of stuff. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Is that all you have?
That's all I had.
Excellent. Well, you have a good day and drive safe.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right. Except we guessed the wrong side of the country.
That's true.
Should we try another one?
We're going to try another
We're going to try another one?
We're going to try the 303 area code.
303. 303. 303. I'm going to say Virginia.
California.
California. What do we got?
You need to think Mile High.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Son of a gun. Now, is
Hi,
Mile
buddy.
High is Mile High the same as Drug High?
Can be.
Could be.
In Colorado, it certainly can be.
Certainly can be. Okay.
How you doing,
cool.
my friend?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Well, you had a question earlier about the centromatic wheel balancers and the different types that are out there. When I put my wide singles on, I put the bead type balancing substance inside the tires. So I wanted to get first of all, your opinion on those products, and I use the most popular one. I can't think of the name of it right now. And then the other question that I had was, because of the cupping problem on my wide singles that you and I have talked about, when I go to change tires again, I'm going to go back to duals, and I still have my old centromatics. I just wanted to know if you had any knowledge of whether or not they should still be good, or would I need to replace those when I go back to duals?
Okay, now the centromatics you bought before were for duals, right? They weren't for super singles.
Correct. Yeah, I have
Okay.
24.5 Low Pro centromatics on there, and that's what I'll be going to when I take my wide singles off. So, but I still have those centromatics.
What I would do is I'd pick that centromatic up and I'd slide it onto a piece of pipe through the middle of it, and then I'd spin it and make sure that you can hear all that stuff rattling around in it. If it's rattling around, I'd go ahead and use it. Okay? If that stuff is lumped up and it won't spin and rattle like you normally expect to hear them, then I wouldn't put it on the truck. But there's no reason to believe it isn't working. I would just check it just because you can. As far as the bead products inside the tire, I like those too. They work. I've seen a lot of good results out of them. But if I owned centromatics, I'd put them right back on the truck.
Yep.
Right, yeah. Like I can't put the centromatics on because they're not the wide single centromatics.
No, I mean when you switch back to the duals.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that was what the plan was. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
If I had
That's all
those,
you need to know, sir.
No problem. You have yourself a great day and you drive safe.
Yep.
Always do. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay. What do we got? We missed that guy by a mile, didn't we?
What's that?
303.
Yeah, I was in California and you were in Kentucky, I think.
Well, you were closer than I was, I think. All right. What do we got here?
Mentally, I was closer. The distance.
Mentally?
Between Colorado and Kentucky is much greater than the distance between Colorado and California.
I'll take your word on it. It's only an inch on the map. What's this area code?
This one is 218.
218.
I think it's Indiana.
You think it's Indiana?
I
I'm going to say Illinois.
Okay.
All
Wow. We're right next to each other.
We'll try that. Hello
Well,
there.
you guys can't. Minnesota.
Minnesota?
Yep. Calling from Des Moines.
You're calling from Des Moines?
Well, you're
I'm
calling
rolling through Des Moines right now.
Shoot, you ought to come by the studio here. We'll talk here.
Yeah, it could have been easier.
What you got?
I've heard a lot about rollout gauges where you put the gauge on the wheel and you spin it with that. Any idea how much those are? Where's a good place to purchase them?
Wait a minute. You were breaking up. I was having a hard time figuring out what you're talking about. Do that again.
A rollout gauge to make sure your tire isn't round.
Oh, a run-out gauge, a rolling run-out gauge.
Yes, there we go. Oh, how
I've
much
seen
do
those.
run in?
Oh, you can probably buy one for $50. But
Okay.
in all the years I've been doing this, I've never bought one. So I don't know why you would buy one.
This what I heard from Kevin. It's one thing you should have to make sure everything's still in round. Because I've had a couple tires rims and tires that have been out of round on my truck. So.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. Fine. You want to buy one, use one. That's fine. The question I have is, how did the tire get out of round? The tires tend to get out of round for three reasons. One reason would be if it was not mounted straight on the rim, or if the rim was not mounted centered on the hub. Okay?
Okay.
The second reason is if there's feathered wear on the tire will slide and skip and slide and skip, and it'll wear itself out of round. So you should be able to feel the feathered wear. Okay? The third reason is if you jack up the front of the truck and you spin the front tire, and it goes around slowly and you feel it tries to stop, and then you push it past that resistance, it goes halfway around again. That means the brake shoe is rubbing against the drum every half a turn, and that'll wear the tire out of round. Yeah. So a runout gauge isn't necessary to find the last two, is it?
No,
yeah. And
I've actually had a rim be out of round.
Yes. Yes.
Ran it on a balancer, and I could see it dipping up and down. But it was on with centering bolts, so I knew it was mounted right on there, but it wasn't. The rim was bouncing up and down. So.
Yeah, and if I jack the tire up, and now we're talking about the steer axle now. If I jack the tire up and I spun the tire, I can stand and look at the rim and see the rim moving.
Right.
And I don't need a runout gauge to see that. Of course, maybe it's because I got an educated eye. Wait a minute, no, I'm old. Anyway, if you want a runout gauge, yes, there's a company called Myers Tire Supply, MYERS. You can find them online. I'm sure they've got runout gauges on there. You can buy one of those, and you can be able to check your stuff.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Not a problem, buddy. You have a good day.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, we missed him completely. We guessed Minnesota once today. Does that count?
Yeah, it should.
It should. We should get credit for that. All right. We got another question or comment here.
Yeah.
Where's he at? Where's he at?
Is this one 720?
720.
Yeah.
720. 720. Florida.
It's over there.
729.
729. That's right. Well, then, I'm going to go with Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay. All right. Are you there?
How about Colorado?
Colorado? Yeah. But the other guy said 303 was Colorado. They can't have two area codes.
One area code per state.
Not authorized.
Yeah,
what do you got?
All right. I talked to you last week about the inside dual going ball and the other tires not. And you said it was loose bearings.
You're breaking up pretty good.
To you. Okay. I talked to you last week about a tire that was wearing out really fast. It was the inside
dual.
Inside dual. Yes. And you said it was bearings, loose bearing?
If it was inside edge, inside tire, yeah.
Right. That's what it is. Now, but there was a piece I didn't hear. You said it's not necessarily that bearing. It could be the opposite side. Is that what you said?
Sometimes it can be on the opposite side of the same axle because the two tires on one side and the two tires on the other side work against each other. I have occasionally seen where it was actually on the other side of the axle.
Yeah, you jack up one side, it's nice and tight. You even check it, pull it apart, it's nice and tight. But the other side is loose, and the wear's on the tight side.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was correct with that.
All right. It's not very often we see it, but it does happen.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good day.
Appreciate your help. Mm-hmm.
Colorado with 2 phone area codes.
Yeah,
That's not fair.
I don't think that's right.
I think everybody should have 1 phone area code per state. Make it easier for us to guess.
Yeah, we can figure it out easier.
Right.
All
Okay.
right. Well, then we've got another one here. This one's the 330. I almost said 303 again, but no, this is the 330.
That's Ohio.
Area code. What's that?
That's Ohio.
That's Ohio.
It's Ohio. I'm
All
sure.
right.
Hello.
Hello.
Is this Ohio?
It is, but I'm actually calling from El Paso, Texas.
Now, don't confuse us.
It is Ohio. It's Akron, Ohio, actually.
Now, you're not south of the border, are you?
No, I'm right there about 2 miles from it, though, at that Petro truck stop on 10.
I've been there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, here's my question.
Okay,
I've been talking. Hopefully, you can answer it. It's about the show. So, I've got a shock in the front on the driver's side that rattles when I drive down the road. Now, it's loose down there at the bottom bolt, and I don't know whether or not that shock needs replaced or whether or not I can just tighten it down. And the follow-up question to that would be, how do I know when to replace the shocks? Unless,
Okay. If they're broken, they need to be replaced. If they're leaking fluid, they need to be replaced. And if they no longer have any resistance when you push them up and down, they need to be replaced. Now, if the rubber bushings are gone, if you can replace the bushings, you could just put new bushings in and go ahead and run it if the shock is good. But I don't know where you buy the bushings separate from the shock because they all come in a kit. Now, if that was my truck and it's loose, I would probably just take the shock loose at the bottom where it's loose already and try to lift it up and down. And if there's no resistance in it, I just buy 2 new shocks and put them on and be done with it.
I got you. Okay, I think that's it.
Awesome, buddy.
Appreciate you taking my call.
You bet. Don't go too far south. You'll be good.
Don't go any further
Bye-bye.
south. How about that?
Bye.
All right.
Okay.
There you go.
Clicking
Okay.
and clicking. And what do we got here?
Got 2 more questions. This one's the 509 area code.
509. Let me get up my Ouija board and my crystal ball, and I'm going to say Kentucky.
I'm going with Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay, all right. We'll give it a try. Hello there.
How you guys doing today?
We're having fun. How about you?
Yeah, hanging in there. You guys are way off. I'm up here in Washington State.
Washington
Another
State.
Washington State.
Is it Western or Eastern Washington State?
Eastern Washington, yep.
We did have a 509 today.
Washington State earlier.
Boy, we got to remember more than 4 minutes in the past, otherwise we'll forget all this stuff.
Hey, I had a question. I put a drop axle on my truck, and we thought we lined it all up, but it's just eating the inside of the tire, just the middle of the tire on one of the tires, the driver's side.
The middle of the tire. Now, is this a 5-rib steer tire?
Yes.
Okay, and if you count the ribs from the outside to the inside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are you saying rib number 3 is the one that's wearing?
Oh, rib number 1.
Rib number 1, the very first outside or the very first inside rib?
The very first inside.
Is this a steerable drop axle or a stationary drop?
No, steerable.
Steerable. Okay, all right. Then, first of all, we need to check the wheel bearings and make sure they're okay. The second question is, if you put your hand on top of that tire and slide your hand back and forth across it, is it sharp going one way and smooth going the other way, or does it feel the same in both directions?
No, it's kind of sharp when you're coming back. It's smooth
You
going
can feel
one way, but you can feel kind of the edges.
Okay, I think the toe is wrong on this axle. Now, is the other tire on the same axle showing the same pattern, or is it only on the one tire?
Just only on that one tire.
Okay, the toe is wrong on the axle, so you need to get somebody to measure that and set the toe. It should be about 1/16 toed in. Now, do you want to try and measure this yourself, or do you want to have somebody else do it?
No, I could probably do it. It just
Okay.
yeah.
Then what you need to drive the truck up straight someplace with the weight on the ground, okay, with that axle down, so you got all the scrub in it. Then you want to take two small pieces of duct tape and put them on the back of the tread of the tire, low enough that you can run a tape measure across without hitting anything. Then I want you to make two little ink marks on the duct tape and have somebody hold the tape measure on one piece of duct tape and you measure to the other. And let's say it's 92 inches, just to pull a number out of our ear. Then I want you to drive the truck forward until those two pieces of duct tape show up in front. And I want you to measure it again. The front measurement should be a 1/16 to maybe an 1/8 of an inch shorter than the back measurement was.
So it'd be kind of pointing towards the side then, huh?
You want them toed in just a hair, okay?
Okay. Okay.
I suspect since it's wearing on the inside edge, it's going to be toed out. And you need to change the tie rod, adjust the toe to get it straight, okay?
Okay, appreciate your help.
You have a great day and drive safe.
All right, thank you, sir.
Eastern Washington, did he say?
Yeah, 2 Eastern Washington.
Oh, our memory's getting bad. We have to remember this stuff.
Oh, I don't think they were the same area code.
Don't think so? What was it, 209?
I don't remember.
What was this one?
This one was 509. All right. Actually, no. The other one was 509 also.
See, there was two of them. There it is right there.
I could have, if I would have just looked up, I would have.
You're the one with the computer, so it's your fault.
It's right here.
What can I say? All right. We got one more question.
Yeah, there is one more question. It's the 254 area code.
254, car 54. Oh, it was car 54. Where are you? That was the TV program. 254. Your guess?
I guess Arkansas.
Nebraska.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Well,
I
where
am.
are you?
Pardon me?
Well, I'm calling Sylvania, but the number's from Texas.
Texas. We finally got a Texas. All right, very good. What can we do for you?
I've actually got two quick questions. One is on rolling resistance. I'm looking at trying to change my tires out from the ones I have now, and everyone swears by if you every 10 points you lose in rolling resistance, you gain 1/10 of a mile per gallon. And so I'm wondering how accurate that math really would be to change the tires, because that would tell me I would gain 7/10 of a mile per gallon by changing out my drive tires on my truck.
I don't know nothing about birthing no babies.
Well, rolling resistance, unfortunately, isn't our area.
Okay.
How they come up with their numbers apparently is different by manufacturer.
Yeah.
So the truth behind it is really difficult. We try not to get involved in fuel mileage at all because, for one thing, alignment doesn't save you fuel.
Okay.
Or it saves you so little we can't measure it. So we spend our time on why tires work funny, why trucks handle funny, how to fix that, and we let Kevin Rutherford and his people talk about fuel economy.
Right. Now,
all right.
The rolling resistance tires are very important to us because they have changed the way the tires are built, and it's really affecting our tire life. But other than that, so you can almost say that if you have a better rolling resistance tire, you're probably going to have a lower tire life.
Yes, that's a basic rule.
Right.
All right. What is your other question?
My other one is actually on tire wear that you might be able to help me with. on my trailer, it's on the passenger side, the front tandem on the inside. It's a Bridgestone R19S, and the tire is wearing crossways from the inside to the outside, and many spots all the way around the tire.
Started off as cupping on the shoulder of the tire. Now it's eating its way out into a diagonal wipe about the width of your hand, right?
No, it's all the way across the tire.
Yeah, but the cups themselves are about the width of your hand.
Yeah, I guess, that would be about the width of my hand.
Yeah, and then they might be 8 or 10 inches apart, and then there'll be another one, and then another one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Most probably the wheel bearings are loose. That's the first probable thing. If you have a jack, you can simply jack up that side of the axle, make sure the brakes are released, grab the top of the tire with your hands, and just push it in and out as hard as you can, and if it goes clunk, clunk, the bearing's loose.
Okay, so it'd be the bearings.
Right. Now, it was only in that one wheel position on your trailer, right?
Just that one wheel, yes, sir.
And it's very easy to have one wheel bearing loose. Now, if the other ones were all doing it too, I'd not only say you have a bearing possibly loose, you also probably had a Hendrickson axle and the axle's flexing. But since you're only claiming one position, I'd go after the wheel bearing.
Just the wheel bearing.
Okay, yeah, and it's just that one inside tire from those two duals that are doing it. So that wouldn't, the wheel bearing being bad or going bad wouldn't cause the outside to wear the same way?
Yeah, the outside doesn't show anything. It'll start on the inside edge of the inside tire and work its way out.
Okay, so eventually it'll start, if it's the wheel bearing, it'll start doing the same thing to the outside tire also.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually. But then it depends on how loose it is, because it may not be loose enough that you wouldn't take the tires off before it showed up on the outside.
Okay. Well, I'll have to check that out. I appreciate y'all's help.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, all right. He was Texas.
Yes.
What was that area code?
254.
I'll remember that for 4 minutes.
Or less.
Or less. All right, we got another question here.
One more here, and it's 931, and I think we actually
931.
931.
And where do you think it was?
931 and then 937. So this is either that same caller again or someone from.
And what area? Where was he from in 931?
That was more than 4 minutes ago.
It was more than 4 minutes ago.
I don't even remember where the 937.
I'm going to go to Nevada. Because I want to go to Vegas.
We didn't get any calls from Nevada.
Oh, too bad. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't.
Go ahead. Let's see where he's from. All right. Hello there. Yep. I can't listen to that. I'm sorry. That was worse than my grandchildren screaming in the living room. We've got about 7 minutes left here. We have run out of calls. If anybody has a question, you can push 1 on your keyboard, and there's somebody popped up. Let's see what they got here.
We're going to know this one.
Yeah?
760.
Oh, that's Southern California.
SoCal.
Hello there, SoCal.
SoCal's right. That's Julian, California.
Julian. I went to high school in Julian, California.
Yep, and you get 2 area codes here, 760 and 442. They're overlaying on the same spot.
All right.
I got a question about bearings.
Okay.
I know this doesn't pertain, it's more automotive, but do the automotive bearings adjust to the same clearances as your heavy truck bearings?
Yes, 1 to 5,000s.
Okay, because I bought a F350 78 out of Julian High School, and it had 3/8 of an inch clearance on the front wheel bearings.
That's horrible. Yeah.
That's what the shop class up there was teaching. So I was wondering, because I got them in the 3000s and I left it there, and I figured I'd call you and double check to make sure.
That truck, there was a 1978, right?
Yep.
Okay. I think I set the bearings on that truck when I was there.
set bearings on this truck?
They're in 78. I recognize it.
Well, there's a 63 that was sitting there, too.
Oh, yeah? Cool.
Yeah, there was a 63 that was dead.
Well, I wasn't going to admit it, but I graduated from Julian Union High School in 1966.
Okay, 66.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that truck was probably there. You probably seen that 63. The 78, they bought it from Warner Springs in 1990.
Well, when I graduated from there was 13 of us in the graduating class.
Oh, that's not much less than what it is now. It's only about 50.
Right. Yeah. There isn't much flat land up there to build any houses on, so there's not many people.
Nope. Well, it's building up out here. It is building up.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you for calling, sir, and you have a great day.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Cool. We got 5 minutes. We got a couple more calls. Let's see what.
I want to get this one right also.
You do?
I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure?
I'm pretty sure.
You can think you can guess it?
Yeah, I think this is the 414 area code, and I'm pretty sure that it's in Wisconsin.
Okay, you go Wisconsin. I'm going to go Ohio.
All right.
Hey. Wisconsin is right.
That's right. The kid got 3 today.
Milwaukee area.
Or 4 counting the 760.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. What can we do for you?
Yeah, my question is, you're talking about loose bearings. What are the symptoms of having it over-tightened bearing?
The symptoms of having it over-tightened is within the first 200 miles, the wheel falls off.
Okay. I've been shooting it with like one of those heat guns and stuff, and if I shoot the axle, it's about 15 to 20 degrees more than the outside temperature. If I hit like where the bearing would be, I'm almost 40 degrees higher. Is that within tolerance?
The bearing normally runs, when it's operating properly and being lubricated properly, it runs somewhere around 260 degrees. Okay? And then the liquid fluid flowing around the bearing takes the heat and transfers it to the hub, and the hub radiates it away. That's one of the reasons I prefer a liquid bearing lube as opposed to the packed grease, because the grease doesn't transfer heat nearly as well, and the bearing gets hotter. All right? So having a warm bearing doesn't bother me. Now, if you looked at a bearing chart that shows the end play available compared to the life of the bearing, an extremely loose bearing won't have very much life. And as it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, the life gets better and better and better. And when you get to about 3 thousandths end play to 0, the bearing life is at 100%. When you get to 3 thousandths preload, it's still at 100%. But at about 5 thousandths preload, the life of the bearing falls off like it's went off of a cliff. So it doesn't gradually get worse and worse. It catastrophically fails when it's too tight. So if the bearing's too tight, it will not go 200 miles. It'll just fail.
Right. And as far as we're concerned, what is one test, other than the fact that you've actually driven it, or not too tight?
You just spin it.
Just spin it. And if it spins a good turn and a half.
It's not too tight.
It's not too tight.
Okay?
A loose bearing will spin.
Yeah. All righty, buddy. You have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
All right. What do we got here?
We got 2 more. And,
I noticed.
like 30 seconds to get them.
30 seconds. Let's see how many we can do.
The 662 area code.
662, Ohio.
Indiana.
Indiana. Okay. Hello there.
Mississippi.
Pardon?
Hello? Mississippi.
Yes, we're here.
Okay. I got a question for you. I got a Kenworth W900 95 model. It's got a 320-inch wheelbase, and I got a shake, and I'm pretty sure it's coming from the rear end between 20 and 25 to 35 miles per hour. Then it kind of goes away, and then up between, depending on the load, 60 to it does it again, and it shakes really bad. What would that probably be? A hub or what?
It could be a hub, could be a pinion angles, could be a carrier bearing. It does not sound like wheel bearings to me. It sounds like if I was running that truck, I would take it in and put it up on jack stands where the U-bolts are and run it up to speed on jack stands and see if I can see anything particular there.
Okay. Well, I got an appointment with Pittsburgh Power on Wednesday to do one of your alignments. And I told them about this shake, and they felt like they could probably find it, but I just kind of wanted to get your insight on it before I got there to see what you thought about it.
Yeah, I think they probably can. They're really good at that driveline stuff. I'd let them have at it.
Good. Okay. Thank you so much, Mike.
All right. You bet. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right. One more.
All right. Well, this one is that 931 area code again, but I think it's an even other number.
931. Yeah. What did we decide that was?
We forgot.
We forgot.
Right off.
Hello there.
Hey. Where are you from?
Damn it.
Hello.
Are you there?
It don't take much, does it?
You're breaking up a little bit. We can hear you, though.
I don't know. He might not be talking to us either.
Woo. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Are you there?
All right. Well, that was worth a try.
Yeah, I think he's actually talking to somebody else. We're past our time.
You
now,
folks have yourselves a great day. We appreciate the heck out of you calling. We've had a lot of good callers, a lot of good information. We can't find our ass with both hands when it comes to area codes, but we're doing pretty good otherwise.
All right.
Next week,
for everybody calling in and listen, and we'll talk to you next week.
Next week we'll be talking about mounting, tire mounting and wheel mounting.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for joining us on Rolling Toe. If you like what you heard here, leave us a rating and review on iTunes or listen to our other shows at audioroad.letstruck.com. To get in touch with our tribe, call us at 855-800-FUEL. That's 855-800-3835. Thanks for joining us for the ride down the audio road.